Welcome to Sports, Wheels, and Reels with Jeff Miller and Austin Horton. One show, two guys, three topics, unlimited possibilities. Presented by Mark Miller Subaru. Engage with us on social media or email us at podcast@mmsubaru.com. And now, welcome your hosts, Jeff Miller and Austin Horton.
Episode 38 of Sports, Wheels, and Reels. Boy, the off-the-air conversations are maybe juicier than the on-the-air conversations.
Someday we're going to do an outtakes of just run the show.
You know what? We say a lot of stuff that maybe we ought to not turn these cameras on.
Quite yet.
Yeah, I don't know. We put a lot of trust in Ashley.
Ashley's just keeping it in her computer for later.
We got to have her sign an NDA.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to do.
Done that yet, have we?
So, Jazz, trade deadline of fast approaching. NFL playoffs are in full heat. And also want to talk to you about, in Wheels, we had the Utah Auto Show. We had some Tesla news. We had some training on the EV Solterra. And our 2023 Love Promise partners have been announced.
Yeah.
And in Reels, we're going to have a couple of real feel-good stories. No, they're not, but they're really good. Talk to you about it. Coming up next. Stay tuned.
It comes in flakes, in powder, fresh and fluffy, or frosted. No matter how snow arrives, it's best enjoyed in a Subaru with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Subaru, the best-selling all-wheel drive brand in America for the last 10 years.
Keep calm and snow on. Visit Mark Miller Subaru to test drive a winter-ready Subaru today or build and customize your own online at markmillersubaru.com.
All right, sports. Jeff Miller, sports. What's your favorite subject each week? Sports, wheels, or reels?
I like talking about sports.
Do
It's
ya?
funny, even
Okay.
when we did this and it was only a car show. If you
Only a car show, yeah.
Yeah, back
We
in
would
the day when it
always
was on the
start
radio,
with
we'd
them, yeah.
always would talk a little bit of sports. And remember who was for a while who was always after us was the Saturday Sports Show with Spencer Hall and those guys.
Yeah, Salt City Hoops,
South City Hoops.
which then turned into the Saturday show.
Yeah, it was turning into a Saturday show,
Yeah.
right? And I always 3 or 4 times they invited me to come on and spend the entire show with them. After.
Oh, yeah?
I had so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
I could sit around and talk sports on the radio for hours. I think I'd be a sports radio guy if it wasn't for my other career.
Yeah, this small hobby of
Which is
owning businesses.
just doing all right.
We're scraping by.
But I'm willing, and if anyone wants me to come on, I'm in at any time.
Let's do it. Let's have Jeff on. We do need to talk about the Utah Jazz. Okay, let me ask you. Let's
500
start
record
here.
now?
They're 500 as of yesterday. Yesterday
24 and 24, right?
or Wednesday. They play tonight.
Right after, did they go one above?
No, I think they're right at
that got
500.
on 500.
What is okay? You tell me, Danny Ainge. What is he thinking? Justin Zanuck. What is that brain trust thinking right now?
I think the Jazz are ecstatic right now.
Really? Okay.
I think that, I listening to Locke talk about this morning was pretty good. Locked on Sports
Jazz,
Jazz. He did a pretty good breakdown. If you look at it from the Jazz standpoint, they looked at last season and said, this isn't working. We need to rebuild. We've got 2 guys at the top of their trade value. We're going to get the world for him. And he did. And he got well beyond what he ever imagined. He didn't imagine that he was going to get Walker Kessler, who is projecting to be a bona fide star in the league if he continues. He didn't project to get a Lauri Markkanen, who, if you'd argue over the last 15 games, he's a straight-up trade for Donovan Mitchell. How he's played the last 15 games. 15 games, small sample, I get it. But if he continues what he's done over the last 15, 16 games, he's giving you pretty similar to exactly what on the offensive end, and he's a defensive presence.
and he's big. Yeah.
Donovan still to this day isn't a defensive presence.
Yeah.
Like you would, I think.
And he had been all but left for dead by the rest of the NBA.
I mean, if you could argue right now, would you trade back?
No.
Would you trade Markkanen back for Donovan?
I wouldn't.
Even taking the not wanting to be in Utah, but you wouldn't. But you talk about having a younger, 7-foot
Yeah.
star that can do what he's been doing. I don't think you trade for him in a second. Would you trade for him and the 3 first-round picks?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the 3
Yeah.
first-round picks were
No.
owed?
Yeah. No.
Plus
I see what
Ochai?
you're saying, yeah. And Abaji is doing some
Abaji's-
defensive things. Yeah.
I mean, I think that the Jazz are in a great spot. I think there are untouchables on the roster now. I don't think everyone is. I think that there still could be some moves made at the deadline to try and make the Jazz better for the future. If they could pick up more 24, 25-year-old future stars or guys that are in a bad situation, John Collins is one of those guys I think's on that list. That he's in a bad situation, not being used right. He's got 2 ball-first guards that don't let him touch it.
Yeah.
If you could put him in, I mean, the starting lineup of Kessler, Collins, Markkanen is a pretty solid front line for the next decade.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And then,
right? I mean, Conley, I think he has some value out there in the world. I don't think he has enough value for what the Jazz are going to want back for him, for what he does to just teach the young guys how to be a pro.
yeah, and he makes too much money to be a salary match for anybody.
I think the value of Conley is what he's teaching these guys that they want to be their cornerstones.
Okay.
I don't think I like Beasley. I like what he's done to turn around his career in Utah. He's doing all the right things. He wants to turn around his career, and he loves being here. He wants the Jazz to pick up his option next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the right deal came along for him, I think they pull it. I think same thing with Vanderbilt. If the right deal comes around, I think they pull it for Vanderbilt. Same thing with Horton Tucker, Nigel Williams, all those guys. I think they're all, but I think the Kessler, Agbaji, Markkanen, Clarkson, I don't think he's tradable.
You don't?
No, I think he's
Given the extension talks that fell apart?
The extension talks crap because the Jazz can't offer him an extension right now. The way NBA rules are, they can offer an extension for $13 million a year. He's going to make 20.
Yeah.
He's a $20 million player all day long. Anywhere he wants to go, the Jazz will offer him 20. He's going to be a contract between $20 to $23 million at the end of next season. He knows it. Jazz know it. Why would they offer him an extension? They're not even talking about it because they know this is the reality.
Okay.
So he didn't turn down an extension. They didn't have an extension offer. Maybe they offer an extension at $13 million. Like, here's what we can offer you. We want you to know that we want you here. This is all we can offer you. Do you want it? Maybe that's what he turned down. But I think Clarkson wants to be here.
You nailed it on the head right there because what went on with that is exactly what you just said. Is that the Jazz reached out to the agency, the team, said, hey, this is kind of an offer just because we can only do this, but we want you to know that this is an RSVP for a later date when we can give you more.
No, because the Jazz they have to make the offer during the season because they have to say we want you.
Yes.
So hey, we're going to give you a max offer of what we can offer you, which is $13 million, 14, 15, 16, 17 over the next 4 years is our max offer.
Because they know that agent is now going to call all the other 29 teams.
Totally, and he's going to make a market, and you're going to see if Clarkson is going to chase as much money as he possibly can or be in a good experience, which I just reading Clarkson and how he's been in this community and everything like that, I think they get him for 20 to 23 million, and he becomes part of this core that could be really good.
So back the first question I asked you is, how are the Jazz feeling? What are they thinking? They're happy.
I mean, they've got a top 5 offense in the NBA.
I was going to say
there is not one person on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
The over/under in Vegas was 23.5,
and I was going to take the under.
It is January 19th, and they've paid off.
They have. Yep.
They paid out the over 19. Although, quick side note on it, there were a couple of casinos in Vegas. I think they're getting busted by the thing, but they weren't paying off Buffalo and Cincinnati over/under bets.
Really?
Because they didn't. Because technically, by the way it's written in the thing, if you don't play a complete season, the bet is null and void.
Oh, I thought it was the opposite.
No, so technically it works both ways. So technically the guys that bet the under or bet the opposite of the bet.
You're talking about when DeMar Hamlin got hurt, yeah.
Because they didn't play a full 17 games, technically that bettor can go back and get their money back.
Wow. I thought it was the opposite. I thought the house wins on a canceled game.
No, anything that gets canceled is all money back.
Ah, who knew?
It's just like if you bet a prop bet on a player and they don't suit up.
God, I would think that would be part of the bet, of the gamble.
They have to step foot on the floor, or on the court, or on the field, or whatever it is. But interesting, right? But I think, I mean, you never know with the assets. If the right deal came along, they could be a buyer.
Yeah, maybe. You mentioned a laundry list of guys there. When you look at the Jazz roster, it's above a team of mercenaries, but there are mercenaries on this roster, like Kelly Olynyk.
You never liked Kelly Olynyk.
I have never liked Kelly Olynyk.
You never liked Kelly Olynyk.
He's dirty. He does not play the game the way I want
my
the
wife
game
calls
to be
him?
played.
Handsy.
Handsy?
Because his hands are just always everywhere. His hands are always
that could mean so many different
things. They're always deflecting a ball or grabbing somebody. So she calls him Handsy.
he gets a little touchy-feely.
Yeah, he's a little handsy.
Yeah. Just ask Kevin Love's shoulder how it's doing. But there's just a lot of guys that can fit in anywhere in the league, salary-wise and on the court, and so they are. It's a roster of pieces that can be moved. Some are likely to be moved. I think what has happened, though, Jeff, is, and we were going to talk about untouchables. I only think there's one untouchable. I think it's Lauri Markkanen. I think everyone else, even Walker Kessler, in the exact right moment for the exact right situation, is currently touchable. Lauri Markkanen is not. But Lauri Markkanen is not a number one option on a championship-winning team either. I think the Jazz have found themselves 5 years ahead of where I thought they'd be.
Lauri Markkanen, playing the way he plays, been playing the last 15 games, you don't think is the number one option?
I don't, because
he is a 30-point, 11 rebound shooting, 50, 40, 90 splits.
Not in the playoffs. He has never been in the playoffs.
Well, you'll see when he gets there.
So I can't say he's the number one option on a championship team.
But the difference, what happens in the playoffs with players, and it's what happens with Donovan in the playoffs, is you can't hide players in the playoffs. You don't need to hide him. He's not a guy you need to hide. That's why he works. What hurts with Donovan in the playoffs is he gets attacked on defense. That's what the Mavs did. The Mavs just did switches until they got Donovan on somebody, and then Donovan would just let him blow by him.
Yep.
And that's how the Mavericks just smoked us. That's what the Clippers did. That's what they all did.
And Rudy got the blame.
And then Rudy got the blame because, oh my gosh, a guard coming full speed straight at me after he got blown by.
After I've also been having to guard
I left
this
my
guy.
Other guy, and he scores
I'm guarding three guys, so Donovan doesn't have to play defense. Yeah.
I think Markkanen can be that guy.
He could play into it. Right now, he's not.
He's 24 years old.
And he's very young. That's what I mean is I think the Jazz have an opportunity here that I thought they were going to be set back 8 to 10 years. I think they're on a 5-year path right now to try and get back to the Western Conference Championship. I think not in year 4, but 5 years from now, the Jazz had better be playing for a Western Conference Finals.
Is it going to take a major hit in a draft pick?
Yes. By major meaning, you got to find your starter. You got to find a starting guard that's not 30 years old Jordan Clarkson. Colin Sexton, I don't think is going to be that. Maybe. We'll see. He's still relatively young too. But I think that the Jazz are way better and way closer to where they wanted to get back to than I thought they were when they traded Donovan and Rudy. Today it feels a lot less daunting now that Lauri Markkanen is playing up to his potential and given the chance to, first and foremost. But
one interesting thing you can say about the league is that the parity in the leagues is getting as low as it's ever been.
Especially in the West.
You could argue that there's 7 or 8 teams right now that you would consider championship contenders. And usually that by this point in the season, you're talking 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And that opens things up. It opens up possibilities.
Yeah.
One thing you got to look at is the Jazz are 6th in the West, 24-24, and have had a brutally hard schedule.
The worst is technically on paper behind them in the scheduling.
They have. Do you know they only have 3 back-to-backs left?
That's it? I knew it was not as bad.
Because they've had 9 already.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah, the fact that they're 24-24 with a new roster, the team they've had, and the schedule they've had is, if they play the same level they're playing now, they should finish 7 or 8 games above 500.
Well, I'm going to say this to you, Jeff, and then we can move on to the NFL. Are the Jazz in the playoffs, yes or no, this year?
I'm going to I think,
That's tough, right?
barring major injury
Yeah.
and Danny doing something to blow it up, I'm going to do those two caveats. Right? Because Danny could very easily say, I don't want to be in the playoffs. Trade Conley, trade everyone, get picks, sit on Kessler and his four guys, and everything hits.
So they have 24 wins now. Danny could make it that they only have 30 at the end of the year.
I don't think he can get that far, but he can make them a 40. He can make them a 35-40 team.
Okay.
Game.
Yeah.
I think if they keep this roster somewhat intact, or maybe add something like that, I think they could win 45 to 50 games. And if they win 45 to 50 games, it makes them a 5 seed in the West.
That's amazing. After trading what they traded,
It would
they traded.
It would be a miracle.
We haven't even mentioned Bogey.
And if they win 40, if this Jazz team wins 45 games, and Danny Ainge doesn't win Executive of the Year, there's something wrong.
Can he be Executive of the Year?
Why?
Well, Zanuck's the GM.
Zanuck, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Somebody with the Jazz name on it is Executive of the Year for
Will
those
Hardy
two
should be Coach of the Year.
fleece jobs.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh,
That's why I could never be an NBA executive, is because when they made those trades, I'm so short-sighted. I didn't think it was enough because there weren't names.
here's your question right now.
I don't like picks.
Here's a better trade before we go back. If you were offered Rudy back right now for Kessler, would you take it?
No.
Right?
Love my
How
guy,
scary.
but no.
Love Rudy too.
Yeah.
How scary is that?
No.
Who would have ever thought that comment would ever be made?
So, yeah.
If you were to offer straight up Kessler for Rudy, there's not a GM in the league that would take it right now.
Nope. I'm actually kind of low-key concerned about Rudy
They're not using
mentally.
him. They're using him horribly.
because he's not being treated as well as he should or has been.
No, he's
But that's
the best
also-
screen guy in the league. He needs to be doing screens and diving, and they're trying to do these screens and pops and screens. Like,
Yeah.
you can't have Rudy popping. Like, what's he going to do? Catches the ball? He's like, oh, great. Think Kessler will ever develop a jump shot? He
Let's
made a jumper.
not.
He made a jumper the other day.
I know.
He made that little baseline jumper. It was awesome.
I know, and that's everyone's like, oh, what if he can develop that? Well, sure, but
Doesn't need it.
No.
That's the thing is, if the beauty of what Will Hardy and those guys do is, we're developing you in slow steps.
Remember
Little
that
baby stuff. Do you know who they compare it to? Is like Jonas, like a Valanciunas. When he came in the league, all he did was layups and dunks and everything like that. And slowly, year by year, he learned how to be in the league and moved farther out. Now he's shooting threes.
Yeah,
And that's what you could be.
could be.
I'd take him if he became that.
So I think we both have the Jazz in the playoffs this year, right now, today.
I think they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, which just blows my
And
mind.
I think surprisingly they could be out of the play-in the playoffs.
I don't. Yeah,
Based on the way they're second
8 or
the,
better.
The way they're
well, that's
no,
playing
6 or
7.
better. 6 or better.
Oh, yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
The way their second half of their season's laid out for them, it should be easier than the first. I mean, the first half was brutal.
Yeah.
And really, with as many close games as they've had, they really could be 5 games above right now.
I'd like to.
They also be 5 games below, but
I'd like to hear Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck be administered truth serum, and we ask them what they projected the team to be this year.
totally. Did they really think Lauri Markkanen was what they're going to be this? Did they really think that Ochai was as good as he is, or Kessler for sure?
Will Hardy.
Yeah, Will Hardy too, right?
The fact that they've got this team bought in and winning when it was apparent, it looked apparent to everyone, myself included, that they were going to be a 13-win team.
You watch Will Hardy though, like with the players, and they just love him.
I love that guy.
They love him. I mean, did you see Sexton the other day on the
Yeah.
sideline?
Who, earlier this season, Will Hardy was yelling at Sexton on the bench.
Yeah.
And people are like, whoa, what's going on? I was like, no, that's good.
And Will comes out after the game. The best is he's like, people think I'm hard on these guys. Like, no, I'm pushing them to their limits. I know what they need. And like, he does. So,
He's like a
I like
teammate
it.
that's a coach.
No, I love it.
All right, NFL playoffs. Get set for playoffs. Get set for take the well.
Sunday good, Saturday bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say take the over on Saturday, but maybe not because it's quite large for the Eagles and Giants. One of them's like a 9.5 point favorite.
What's the Chiefs spread?
I think that's 9.5. Chiefs Jags, and I swear Eagles and Giants at one point was close to double digits. It's come down now.
Yeah, they're two not
But-
great games on Saturday.
I expect that to be chalk. I expect the Eagles and the Chiefs to move on. Sunday, though, we might be in for some instant classics.
Those are going to be some. How about the emotion surrounding that Cincinnati Buffalo game? That's going to be intense.
That, and just given the fact that what happened with Damar Hamlin. Sorry.
What do you feel about the fact that it's in Buffalo? Do you think, because it wasn't the controversy behind that is that if Cincinnati would have beat Buffalo, they'd be hosting this game.
Right. So this is a very Pollyannish take. This ought to be a neutral site game. Really? If they weren't going to do something?
You can't have a playoff game.
Cannot.
You just can't. It is against everything in the world to have a playoff game in a neutral site.
Even from a sports side of it. But when we look at it from a business standpoint, personal feelings don't matter.
No.
So cry all you want, Cincinnati. But the events happened.
The game got canceled. You didn't win the game. They had a better record.
Yeah.
They get the home court.
And if you're better, go beat them at home.
Yeah.
So, but that'll be a great game. And then anytime you see Dallas and San Francisco in a divisional playoff game, it's got to feel good to you, us 90s kids.
Oh, yeah. That's a great 90s. God, the memories of that, all that stuff.
Can the upstart Brock Purdy 49ers...
I think there's pictures of me in a Dallas Cowboy gear
gross.
from the 80s. I know. It's really sad. I'm not a big Cowboy fan. I think my grandma did it to me.
Oh, man.
I was a San Francisco fan, too. I think she did it just to, hurt me.
I was a 49ers fiend.
I like the 49ers.
That's all I talked about.
I always loved the 49ers.
That's all I thought about was
never
Ricky
really had
Waters.
an NFL team, but kind of San Francisco, I'd say.
So Sunday will be fun. So here we go.
I like the Purdy story.
Yeah.
Mr. Irrelevant.
And I could see him blowing or making the Dallas Cowboys blow another playoff chance.
Hey, they won a playoff game, though.
They did.
Dallas is
over the GOAT, Tom Brady. Thomas Q. Brady.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up next.
Wait, we got one more.
Oh, yeah.
We got one more. The B Stadium.
The Bees. Whoops.
Whoops.
That small blur.
Small little blur.
I don't know if you saw that in the back of the paper.
Salt Lake losing its baseball team. Out to the burbs.
Yeah, some team named the Bumblebees. Is that who we're talking about? Yeah. So the Miller Corporation, different Millers, no relation.
The South Jordan Breakers. What are we going to call them?
Yeah. the Daybreakers. I like
it. Daybreakers. I like it. With the Z.
2 Z's.
Daybreakers.
Oh my gosh. What a disaster. The Larry H. Miller family has decided to vacate Smith's Ballpark, as it is currently called, and they own every piece of land in Daybreak. There's 1,300 undeveloped acres. They're going to build a stadium out there right by the west corridor. It's going to be finished. Trax is going to go right to it.
I think they're going to build a decent-sized stadium that could possibly fill a major league team at some point, or do you think they're going to build just another minor league stadium, or do you think they're going to build something that's expandable?
I don't think that they have plans to turn this stadium into a major league stadium.
Is it more like we want to build something out here to show how successful it can be in this area, and then we're going to bring a major league stadium kind of idea?
I don't think they even care about the major league standpoint of it. I think they care about. Now, I don't think this. I know that
driving more eyeballs to Daybreak.
They are spending so much money on the Bees, and they believe that half of it, 50% of their losing money is due to location.
Because no one wants to go to the ballpark district.
And the worst thing that happened for the city of Salt Lake, who kind of called the Miller family's bluff, 5 years ago the Millers said, here's a list of things we need that you to do to the city. The city did some of them for a minute, and then it just kind of faded away. Recently, a very high-ranking official in that company took his family to a Bees game and passed, and this is the commentary on the state of the city over there, passed somebody on the sidewalk, 2 people, one person selling themselves, and another person passed out with a needle in their arm.
Yeah.
And that person said, that's it. We can't do this anymore.
That's obviously in that area. There with some of our direct competitors and car dealerships and stuff there. I know that the stores and the retail outlets in that area close at 6 p.m.
Yes.
They close because they have to. It used to be when you looked at all the Subaru stores, that South Salt Lake was the dangerous area. And South Salt Lake's improved dramatically. to the point. I mean, there's not as much crime in this area at all anymore.
Yeah.
And
There's not as much opportunity when you build bigger roads.
Yeah, a lot of it's moved
Yeah.
in those directions, and it's unfortunate. And I hope it's a wake up call to Salt Lake City to invest and figure out how they can improve that neighborhood. But it's turned into probably the worst neighborhood in the city now.
And the thing that the Millers can point to is Las Vegas just did this. Their AAA team,
Yeah, they moved to Summerlin, right?
they moved, which is the Daybreak equivalent outside of Vegas, and they are selling out every game.
Yeah.
And they suck. They are not a good baseball team.
No,
And because they were selling out every game, guess who now is starting to move to Vegas? The Oakland A's.
Yeah.
They are on a fast track to be the Las Vegas Athletics because of the minor league team success.
Definitely.
So it's a business move.
The sad part, though, is I love that ballpark.
I do too.
It is one of the best ballparks
And the
in
memories
country.
in
And
it?
I think it's still constantly rated as like a top 10 minor league ballpark.
It's-
It's what, 30 years old?
It has been voted, by my count, 5 times in the last 25 years, best view in sports
Yeah.
by different magazines,
I love
Sporting
it.
News.
Going to games there has always been incredible. It's amazing. But I've actually played on that field.
Have you?
Yeah, when I was in high school.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Now, maybe the University of Utah wants it, although they just built a new baseball stadium, or are building, I can't remember.
They have plans to build a brand new stadium on Guardsman.
Maybe that gets scrapped. That's too big for a college.
Yeah, college.
Yeah.
I mean, even like the best college, like when I was at USC, they won the national title in baseball, and we went to baseball games, and there were maybe 1,000 people there. Like, and I went. We
Wait,
went
this
to
school has a baseball team?
games, and they had a
Yeah.
nice stadium on campus, but it was 1,000 people. Like that's what you need for a college baseball stadium. You don't need There's no college in the country that's sending 15,000 people to a college baseball regular season game. Not happening.
All right. So a bit sad news for Salt Lake, but it makes sense why they're doing it.
All right, now we conclude the longest sports segment ever.
Do we have time for the rest of the show?
We're gonna fly through wheels and reels.
We got to go. Be right back.
My name is Bobby Staples. I love dirt roads, saving our public lands, and my Subaru is off-road ready. The Subaru Outback Wilderness is built for people like me. From the factory, they were built rugged with the 9.5 inches of ground clearance. I know that I can get anywhere that I need to without hesitation. What I love about Mark Miller Subaru is the moment I walk in, I feel like I'm a part of the family. Subaru is a brand I trust, and Mark Miller Subaru is the local Utah retailer that I love.
All right, Jeff, we gabbered and yammered and stammered a lot, so we got to combine wheels and reels this week.
Yeah, we were a little too excited about sports. I hadn't been on the show in so long. I had so much sports stuff to talk about.
That's right, yeah.
So much jazz to argue with you about. It's so good to see you optimistic.
That feels a little wrong.
I know it does. I can see the pain in you. Like when it
I feel vulnerable. I do.
can't believe you said they were going to make the playoffs. I should have had you write it. Well, I guess we have it on recorded. This is a podcast.
I didn't know I was ready to be hurt again. I don't know. So
Amazing.
they're gonna break my heart. All right, let's talk about the 2023 Love Promise Partners.
Yeah, we announced them this year. So we do our grant application. We pick our Love Promise partners, the nonprofits we're going to partner with for the entire year. So you want to announce them?
Yeah, and recently we have 6 pillars, but we added a 7th, right? With the Love's Diversity.
Love's Diversity we added in the last year, and then we added Veterans the year before that. So 2 of them are our pillars, and then 5 are Subarus. But there's rumors out there that this year Subaru's going to pick up the diversity pillar.
Oh, is it?
I'm working on them nationally.
Good. Subaru Loves Pets. Our 2023 partner is going to be CAWS, C-A-W-S, CAWS, a no-kill shelter.
Yep.
They work with fostering pets. They will, even as their funds and means allow them, take in pets whose owners can no longer keep them. Mm-hmm. This is a very important aspect in the Subaru Loves Pets. The brand, of course, talks about pets, wild or domestic. We protect and want to and have a good life, but especially our domestic buddies.
Absolutely.
Got to make sure they don't end up being killed at a shelter.
There's actually some bills in the legislature for pets this year. There's one that Katherine Heigl was on the Hill pushing the other day about
Utah's own.
banning
Camus's own.
banning gas chambers
which should be banned
Which is
anyway.
pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Hawkwatch is our Loves the Earth partner. Hawkwatch International has a mission to conserve our environment through education, long-term monitoring, and scientific research on raptors, which I just learned a few years ago.
Dinosaurs.
That's not a dinosaur.
It's not a dinosaur.
Hawkwatch, a long-time staple here in the community. Loves to help. We go with the Granite Education Foundation. Donovan Mitchell would be proud.
And Granite, well, that's who we do all of our tutoring programs through.
Which they keep saying we need any and all people to volunteer to tutor for math. Then they watch me on this show and go, except you.
It's kindergarten. I think as we move up to 3rd or 4th grade, it's like,
I'm thinking maybe I should just attend for a year and improve my skills. Loves to Care. We are continuing a relationship with Fit to Recover, which is a nonprofit. They just opened a brand new facility too. A nonprofit that takes people with addictions and finds better ways for them to explore their personalities.
Yeah, and the recovery through fitness and nutrition and things like that.
Art, all kind of music. They have all kinds of
amazing.
stuff. Continue Mission. I'm so excited about Continue
We
Mission.
love Continue Mission.
So
It's our veterans.
Subaru loves veterans. Mark Miller, Subaru loves veterans. Continue Mission. You probably know who and what they are, but just an incredible organization that helps veterans literally continue their life. Because a lot of our veterans get abandoned and abandon themselves, and this
Gives them
fixes
groups,
that.
and they provide missions, is what they call it. So it's like you lose purpose when you come back to the mainland and the real world, and to give missions to these people and let them
So excited. So great.
have value.
And then this is an organization I admittedly had never heard of. The Loves Diversity partner is going to be Girls on the Run Utah. Girls on the Run Utah, and I'm going to read this straight so I don't get it wrong, has a mission to create a world where every girl knows and activates her limitless potential and is free to boldly pursue her dreams. The fairer sex, in my opinion, does not have as many advantages as males, and it's about time we have more organizations and get more recognition to help that
teach
fix.
leadership and confidence. And my daughter was actually involved with it.
Was she?
Back when she was in 2nd or 3rd grade. So and then they do a big run at the end of the year, but it's a school program. Work through the schools. It's really a good program.
The world needs more women in charge, in my opinion.
It'd be a lot nicer to each other.
I think shit would get done easier, honestly.
for sure.
So, sorry, Mom, but that's how I feel. All right, Reels. So, congrats to our Love Promise partners. Stay tuned. The Do Good Feel Good event is right around the corner.
It is a few months away.
Yeah, so
we'll get ready to start making some announcements on that.
All right, time for Reels. I watched a documentary this week on Kai, the homeless hitchhiker.
And I hadn't heard about this when you brought it up. So
You've seen the viral video, the smash guy that came to the aid of someone and beat someone over the head with a hatchet to save another person's life. Well, this documentary is called the Hatchet Wielding Hitchhiker. It's on Netflix, and it is a sad tale. It really is. It looks into who Kai is, where he came from, what he has been through, what he has dealt with, and how he's now serving time in New Jersey for allegedly committing a murder after 6 months after the viral video. They talk a lot with the sports reporter who that day happened to be filling in as a news reporter that got the viral interview.
Crazy.
And Kai only did that one interview.
Interesting.
And then they talked to this guy who's a Jimmy Kimmel booking agent who chased him around city to city trying to track him down to get him on Jimmy Kimmel.
Episodes, or is this
No, it's 1 hour and a half.
1 hour and a half
Yeah.
hit. Okay.
This lady who came up with the Kardashians show, who was trying to sign him to his own show.
Okay.
They talked to all these different people. It's fascinating to see the meteoric rise and fall of Kai the Hitchhiker. So check that out on Netflix. And then you mentioned a show to me.
Yes, this is one I found the other day. I was sick the other day and spent the day in bed. And just what you do when you're in bed all day, you try and find shows to watch. So on Amazon Prime, saw an Al Pacino show. I was like, what? How do you not know about an Al Pacino show? So it's gone 2 seasons. So it's in its 2nd season, and it's called The Hunters. And The Hunters, it's about a Jewish group in New York City that has come together. I don't think they're all Jewish, but it's basically around Holocaust survivors that are tracking down the living Holocaust guards, like the Auschwitz guards.
Wow.
And
Hunting
finding
them down.
in the U.S. because they've placed themselves in different places in the U.S. and they've been hiding in the U.S. as refugees.
Change their identities.
Yeah, change their identities and try and work their way up through government and things like that. And like they're trying to start the Fourth Reich while these guys are trying to hunt them. I'm only 2 episodes in. It's enthralling. It's amazing.
The show for the whole family?
No,
Oh.
I would absolutely not recommend
The
it for any
first
children.
scene, the opening scene you described to me, I went, probably not a
Yeah,
family
it's
night.
not a family night show. This is adults only.
This is not a Pixar collab. I'm
Yeah,
taking.
but it is very, very well done show so far. I'll give you a better update when I get to season 2, but yeah, I would recommend it for sure.
And then coming out in theaters today, a show called Missing. You've heard of no one in this cast, but it's getting like 90% Rotten Tomatoes, 98% Google users. It's about a girl whose mother goes missing while she's with her a new boyfriend in Colombia, and this girl uses all the technology in the world to try and track her down and uncover some things she never knew about her mom.
Interesting.
And it's getting rave reviews. So if you're a theater goer, go check out Missing. See what you think. That's it for episode 38. How did I do? Could you tell that I had a concussion yesterday?
No, it seemed very lucid. I think you're cleared to play tomorrow.
Am I? Yeah. Me and Tua tagging my
Cleared
little
to play
pass.
this afternoon. You can go sell cars. I've cleared you.
The concussion protocol has ended.
Probably better than Miami's.
I got hit in the head. A 20-foot drop of a vacuum battery conked me right in the head.
Oh my gosh! Ouch.
I've got
Who lives above you 20 feet with a vacuum
a
battery?
really cute, terrible roommate called my 1-year-old son.
Oh, yeah,
Who just
they do that.
has just enough tall fingers to push things off the ledge on the second floor, and
Oh, ow.
got me right there. And
Did you hit the ground?
oh yeah, I didn't. I couldn't. It felt like someone had dimmed the lights the whole day.
Oh, ouch.
And anyway, so that's it for episode 38. I didn't slur too many words, so
Good
I
work.
think I passed the protocol. For Ashley, who we already talked about, protects everything close and dear to us that you don't see. She cuts it all out. We thank her so much for doing that each and every week. He's Jeff. I'm Austin. Until next week, Utah. Bye 5.
Trust me.